Hi everyone, thank you for joining today's for our Sunday conversations. Today we're going to talk about the baby's view inside the womb and beyond with Nana Majstorovic. Nana, thank you so much for being with us today. It's
Thank
such a
you for
pleasure.
having me. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Before we dive into this topic, which I think is going to be wonderful with all your expertise, let our audience know a little bit about yourself, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm a mom, and I will start with that. So, 12 years, almost 12 years ago, I became a mom, and I experienced birth trauma that I didn't know in that situation that has a name. After that, so I can say that everything starts with my experience, definitely. And that entered me to pre-perinatal field. I started learning to reading, and I was, what is this? I never heard about that. And we didn't have, ideal birth story, and I can integrate that right now, and my profession definitely helps me a lot. But now I'm very grateful for that entire journey. And I find myself on that journey. And if we're looking professionally, my first training that gave me, let's say, big insight in this field start with APA, Association for Pre and Perinatal Psychology and Health, a few years ago, and I became PPNE educator in this part of Europe. And I think that we don't have any right now. So I am the only one. So everything starts with APA, which I definitely recommend everybody to finish. It's very beautiful education, and it gives you a big scope to understand, sequences and parts.
Tell us the country you are in so that everybody knows.
Yeah, I mean that was the big experience. Also, my mentor, you can choose the mentor, during your education. My mentor was Karen Melton, and she's beautiful. I mean, she's great. She was my first mentor, actually. And yes, and when I finished APA, actually, I was not.
And you are living now in Serbia. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it?
yeah. I'm
Yeah,
living
in
in
Serbia.
Belgrade. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I'm
Belgrade.
living
Yeah.
in Belgrade, Serbia. Yeah. And when I finished APA, also during that program, I attend a lot of webinars, trainings a lot, but APA was, officially. And when you finished APA, you are PPNE educator, officially. And after APA training, I wanted more. So I, moved myself, and I continue working with Kate White, which I also recommended a lot. She's great, and she's a great teacher. And I completed her training, last year, I think. It's IPPD. I don't know if your listeners heard about it. It's integrating pre and perinatal dynamic.
Yeah, she does a
Actually,
wonderful work. She has been
she's
in
doing,
one
yes.
of our summits, and she has been a great supporter of Prenatal Alliance.
Yeah,
Yes.
I highly recommended her, and she's, she knows a lot. So I'm learning from the best. So that was, my journey. And when I finished, yeah, let's say, when you finished IPPD training, you became a, let's say, practitioner, not just educator. So I have educator. So I'm educator with APA, and when I finished this work with Kate, I became IPPD practitioner, actually. And after that, I didn't stop again. And then I entered one another training with Olga Guni. She's also such a wise woman. I mean, and learning from her is totally different perspective, because she's very rich in knowledge. And yes, this March, I actually finished her training, Empower Life. Maybe you heard about it. It's a new training that she actually running, and it was beautiful experience
Yeah,
because,
Olga Kone is on a prenatal
yeah, sciences.
science partnership,
Yes,
and
yes.
she does all her work in Greece, but her work is shared worldwide, and she does these
Very.
virtual trainings
Yes.
and also, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, as you can see, I learned from the very popular names. So that inspired me a lot. Also, let's say a wide range of people has formed the Synchrony Lab family, because my clients are my big inspiration, and they are, just working with them, they inspired me, and that's why I'm making a lot of programs and workshops, and I'm very motivated in my job. Also, I would love to mention other people that make big influence on me, like Ray Castellino, Sheriona Manzem, Anna Vervel, she's great. Orly Zalel, Thomas Verny, Carlton Terry, Mia Califf. I mean, I learned a lot of them, and I'm still learning from them, and they are inspired me a lot. I mean, work of those people is, it's a big thing, and
Yeah, and it's a field that we are constantly
yeah,
learning,
yeah,
right? So all of these people that you're
constantly,
talking about, they are not just
yes,
pioneers or
yeah,
people that are, interested in the field. They are
yes,
also learners. They are still everything that they know more, they like to share. You talk about
yeah,
Anna Barbal. She has also been in our summit. She did the
yeah, I
preface for
know,
my book, and this is great to see her experience when she talks
definitely,
about all of this that we are going to speak on this interview, because one of the questions that we are starting is what how can we explain how the baby nervous system is shaped by the mother
yeah,
state.
that's pretty much big question. I mean, we should have to mention that a lot of people still get the babies that what babies knows, they don't remember. I mean, that's the first point when you are speaking, in mainstream, or publicly or whatever, So our job as educators or professionals who are working in this field is just to demystify everything and said it's wrong. You should have to take in account, everything before. So we usually, I mean, it's very commonly used to hear good mother, good baby. I mean, that's the quote that we usually heard, But when we look at the mother, not just as a sacred vessel, who carries and brings new life into the world, we rarely consider her as the outer wall, actually, of the baby who is inside, you know. So not only through food, but also through thoughts, emotions, reactions, her inner world, and everything she carries into pregnancy, or let's say her personal history, we have taken, into account if we are speaking about pregnancy. And I'm starting from that because the nervous system starting to calibrate in utero. And that's a very big information for everybody, to know that babies will not become the baby when it's out. Maybe start her journey much before. So those of us who are coming from the field of pre-perinatal field know that this is not true, And that's the mother, her inner state actually, indeed has a profound impact on baby's nervous system developing, and everything. This is very important information, and we don't have time to go through all these phases, what is developing in which trimester or everything. But the answer to your question is that the baby's developing nervous system is profoundly influenced by the environment in which it is developing. In that case, it's a mother womb, So yes, I definitely agree with the statement that nervous system
And
stuff.
this is not something that it's new. There has been research on this,
Yeah,
and this
so
research has
many.
more than 30, 40
Yeah.
years. We
Yes,
know that
we
that
know
there
that.
are research that you can figure it out. We can in our website, and also on the World Pregnancy Day website, you have a button there for the research that
Yeah,
is done on this, and we
yes.
have the research on how the pregnancy went, how are these babies that are now adults with 30, 40,
Yeah.
50 years, and what happened.
But people, I don't think that they get it. I mean, speaking about, mainstream audience, let's say that. So that's why the educators are very important, professions. Also, Kate White usually said that, we have a lot of, researches. We have a lot of things that we now find out, but we don't have practitioners. Which is also, something to think about it. Why is that, I mean, here in Serbia, we don't have profession like birth psychologist or birth psychotherapist. We don't have that profession here, so, but I know that in other countries in Europe, they have, that professions. But so that's why I think that we just have to bring the knowledge, and open people for that kind of knowledge. So in that case, we can change something, you know. When I'm speaking from now, after, let's say, 7 years that I'm promoting PPN field, I'm very proud that so many, you know, women want to learn, you know, and want to listen that story, even if it's new here, you know. So that's, I'm very grateful to my clients that are believing. And I'm, you know, when I'm teaching, I'm very motivated. So I have that drive, you know, to let's say to give them everything that I know, you know, and maybe that's the key. So that's
Yeah.
why I have a lot of people that I'm working with here
And
or individual.
as you were speaking about trauma and all of this, how can early stress and trauma imprint these patterns, maybe of fear, of disconnection, in the baby's body and in the baby's mind? How does that
Yeah.
happen?
That's also big question. I mean, that's also a big topic, let's say. But speaking about birth trauma, even here in Serbia, we don't, I mean, in media you can see or hear, or I don't know, in some other, let's say, institution, we don't have that let's say definition birth trauma. Like I'm thinking that people scared to pronounce that, you know, that's birth trauma, you know. I know that from experience because I was also making some interviews for some magazines here, and I said that's birth trauma, and the editor said, please don't call it that. And I said, but that's the name, you know, we have to call it, you know. Well, speaking about birth trauma, it's a broad term, you know. And I like to separate, let's say, each person experience, speaking about moms, dads, baby's perspective, and also stuff, because a lot of people don't know that people who are, you know, uh, who are in charge for the birth, let's say that way, they also have their histories, you know. So when you are opening all of these, let's say, circles, moms, babies, dads, stuff, you have a lot of people in that, let's say, birth trauma story. So in my during my when I'm educating people, I usually separate birth trauma from the mom's perspective and, let's say, pre and perinatal trauma from the baby's perspective, just to be clear, you know, to give people the understanding that it's a little bit different, but it's connected, let's say. So pre and perinatal trauma refers to experiences of trauma that occur during the prenatal and perinatal periods, which includes the time before birth, at the birth, and after birth. We usually say first 1,000 days of life. Usually we refer in that, we said that pre and perinatal trauma operates in that, in this 1,000 days. For better understanding, we often take into consideration topics that can arise in the pre, peri, and postnatal periods. We call them themes. So it's helping people a lot when you know, differentiate periods that happen in prenatal period, that happen at birth, and sometimes something happens after birth, you know. So in my experience, I realize that it helps people to integrate things through things to explain them pre and perinatal trauma. So pre and perinatal trauma is something alive, and it can continue its life even after the danger has passed. So that's also very big information for the people. The baby story will repeat itself until it is seen. Therefore, recognition, naming, processing, differentiation, and integration are inevitable in order to be speaking about PPN trauma to be resolved, in my opinion. So you just have to take everything in account and help mom to explain her, to help her baby. So that's the, let's say that's my point of view. You have to help, you have to stabilize mom, first of all, explain them, or father if he's there, you know. And when they realize that, what's happening, what's going on there. Mostly, what I can see that if it's not visible, there is no trauma. You know, it's very popular, you know. If it's not something, you know, when baby is going to NICU or it's very dramatic and everything.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that because you said it's alive. So how can we identify?
We can through patterns. through, let's say, unconscious scenarios, through behaviors. I mean, it's different to recognize that with babies. It's different with toddlers. It's different, with preschoolers, with adults, but it's never too late. That's good to know that we can work on our, let's say, early experiences. We just have to give permission to work on. And I know it's very delicate to work in that field. But that's why I'm promoting, and I'm let's say promoting my work and working straight away from the birth with the babies, because I say that they are fresh from the factory. So let's work right on time. So, but as I said, it's never too late. I'm also sometimes working with adults. They want to educate. They never heard about pre-prenatal. It's if you cannot touch it, it doesn't exist. It's very difficult to explain. And everybody will say, baby doesn't remember that, but we all know that there is implicit memory. And we try to explain what is that explicit memory. That's bodily memory. And that is, unconscious memory, pre-verbal memory. So everybody has that, in their bodies. So, you have to be very concrete when you're explaining. And when your clients, or I don't know, your audience understand that, they say, hey, I want to learn more, And I think that's the key point, when you just, give them information, but not too much, just to be clear. What is it? And also we have a lot of research and we have a lot of evidence, so you can give it to them if they want, so. Speaking about PPN, pre-perinatal trauma, yes, definitely it can run our life. It can be activated in our 20s, in our 30s. I mean, during my education, I have that experience that I work in my pre-perinatal trauma, actually prenatal trauma. And it was impressive what I found out, because I'm I'm now 46, let's say, and during the 78 year, there was no ultrasound. And my mom, actually, she doesn't know that she's carrying twins. And during the birth, everybody was surprised. And I asked her, how did you know? Didn't know that carrying two girls? She said, I was thinking all the time that I'm carrying one boy. Which is very interesting, speaking about our dynamic right now in our, adult life. And it opens a lot of questions, our relationship with her, and it's totally. And speaking about birth, during that experience that I had, let's say my rebirth, I discovered that I was stuck. And that, let's say, replicated my life. Should I stay or should I go from that, relationship, from that job with the love? And, when you discover that in your 40s, you are, I can't believe that, So I'm speaking from my experience, but yes, definitely pre and perinatal trauma can shape our lives, definitely. So we just have to take that in account. And yes, babies have their stories much earlier than we think.
There are countless experiences of
Yes.
people that we could talk about in our practice.
Yeah.
I remember that I had a student coming to me and he wanted to know, and I am a yoga teacher, he wanted to know why he was having such a hard time breathing. And because it was very hard for him to make a full breath. And sometimes during the practice, even though we were doing relaxation techniques, which are very deep, unconscious techniques, sometimes that releases traumas in a very peaceful and gentle way. He wanted to know why his breath was so, and he said that he always felt that his throat was somehow constrained.
Explain.
And I asked him because, you know, all of this knowledge is there. I'm not a psychologist, but I knew about this education. I knew about what was prenatal and perinatal psychology, and I asked how it was his birth, because usually when we have something that constrains our throat, and he was specifically talking about the throat,
And the umbilical
it
cord.
might happen that the umbilical cord was, you know, tight in the neck. And he said, "Oh my
My God.
God."
That's usually expression. Oh my God, you know,
Oh
I haven't know
my
that.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in that sense, he said, "I would never expect that this conversation with you, I thought that you were going to talk about me. How should I breathe better? I would never thought that you were going to talk about how it was my pregnancy, how it was my labor." But when that happened, it transformed him. So it transformed his face, it
Change
transformed
behavior.
his body. This
Yes.
is where we want to get to when we're talking about we are educators, but we need more practitioners. Because
Definitely.
when
Definitely.
we are this, and this was like a little therapeutic session, it transformed the person. And
Yeah.
suddenly the way that he started breathing again was different.
Yeah, definitely. The behavior changes when
Yeah.
we found, let's say, the root. Definitely the behavior of the people or posture change, you know that, or breathing, let's say patterns of breathing or everything. I mean, it depends. So that's why I mentioned earlier, that's why it's very important to understand and to explain people that there are themes. It's prenatal themes. It can be, perinatal themes during the birth and everything around birth, and there is postnatal themes also. Let's say umbilical cord will be prenatal theme, for example, and I heard sometime, I remember, I don't know, a few years ago, Mara Eckert, you know about her, she's from Germany, yeah, and she mentioned, and she said, listen, people, if discover just one imprint during your lifetime, you're good. So I remember that, and usually I mention that on my education, and to my students, that just be brave, and just, we don't maybe can, heal everything, and that's not the goal. But if we just, be curious about something, a little bit. Also speaking about our lives or our babies' lives, it can be very helpful, to
Yeah,
do
and
that.
sometimes what brings people to any sort of therapy is something that needs to
Yeah.
be acknowledged. So there's
Yeah.
something there that somehow it's not yet in the conscious mind,
No,
but it is a
definitely.
behavior or it is a pattern that is
Yeah.
happening in a person's life that needs to be acknowledged. And
Yeah.
sometimes when people search for us, it is because of the behavior, it is because of the pattern, but what they find out about themselves is what can triggers to change the behavior, because
Totally.
the triggers uh, cannot just be, bad.
Yeah.
We can have
It's,
good
it
triggers.
can be good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I agree with that. Yes. And we realize that we can say, okay, it can help me, to be a better person, to have better life, Yeah.
yeah. Now I
Definitely. Yeah.
know that you are a singer. You're taking it out,
Trying.
but I'm bringing it in. And I know that this is a topic that is very dear to you. So, how can music help a baby and a mother bond during pregnancy? And I'm
Yes.
also a singer myself, so I
Yeah.
also I also know that this is a dear topic for me. I'm so happy that we're talking about this now.
Yeah, when you asked me that question, first of all, I think that going back in the past, when I got idea, okay, I can sing with pregnant ladies, I said to myself, Nana, you are weirdo. Nobody wants to sing with you, But also, I learned a lot about PPN, and I have that strength, so I can, make a program. I made a program a little bit. Also, I'm a music therapist, so that helps a lot. And I know what is the effect of music therapy, working with, so many clients, and so many, let's say, states. So also we can, apply music therapy also in pregnancy. So that's why I actually made a little program called Prenatal Musical Workshops 7 years ago. And last night, actually, I finished one beautiful group. There was 6 or 7 pairs of them. And it was beautiful, beautiful experience. And yes, that's, let's say, my original program, yeah, that I made. We actually through that, let's say, concept, I'm teaching them a little bit of PPN, a little bit of activities, musical activities, which is singing, dancing, musical relaxation, and the main topic is the womb song that they are making for the baby, and it's very emotional,
This
when
is very important what you're talking about, because in any profession that you are doing, when we know about prenatal education, when we know about prenatal psychology, when we know about all of these concepts, we can use them in the things that we are doing, no
definitely
matter whatever you are doing.
whatever you're doing.
Yeah, whatever. Birth, pregnancy is a collective experience. We were all born. So
Yeah,
all of this that we're talking about, it will change the way that you are delivering your
yeah.
message because you know about this. This is a knowledge that should be, in schools, that should be taught to any profession that works with human beings, human development, human birth, mental health. It should be there. So tell us a little bit how music can help.
Well, there are a lot of ways, So I'm actually combining a lot of techniques, let's say. And also, I have to mention that it is not, I'm not working with them, let's say, clinically. I'm not applying actually clinical music therapy. In that case, I should have to know them, more and to have their, birth charts, I mean, birth records and everything. But my goal is to teach them and to give them some, let's say, activities and knowledge that they can use when we finish, and they can apply it. So in that case, music therapy, let's say music therapy goals in pregnancy can be, different, you sometimes you are, you have some interventions for the mom. Sometimes it's just, sometimes I've said, okay, mom, you can just put music and, make your day better. It doesn't have to be connected with a baby. Also, you have techniques when you are combining mom and baby. One of them is definitely whoop song. When they are, writing a song for the baby, it's a personalized song for the baby, and they are continue to think the singing actually during the pregnancy, that song, and the baby will remember that song after. So it's a great tool to have, when when you became mother, you just need tools, how to handle, a little baby. So it depends, what is your goal? What is your therapeutic goal, let's say? But uh, mainly music therapy goals in pregnancy can be enjoy a deeper connection with the unborn baby. It can be reduce anxiety level. It can be the stimulate the fetus and be able to transmit a pleasant state feeling to it. Discover intrauterine bond earlier so that it can be enjoyed. So baby and mom can become a good team during the birth, if you have that strong bond connection with the baby. Achieve a more relaxed labor. So we also have, I'm not using that, I'm not practicing that, but we have also music therapists and doulas. It's combining professions, and they're attending the birth. They are, choosing the music for the birth. And that's why it's very important to have, let's say, educated person on birth, actually, like music therapist, for example. Sometimes the silence is okay. I mean, silence is also the sound. We don't have to use music all the time, That's why it's very important to, to be active listener, to feel mother when we are speaking about birth. Also to achieve self-control of pain, be conscious about physical sensations. That's also that music can help you a lot also. So contribute to reduce prenatal stress, giving the newborn the possibility of being connected through his auditory system. We know that auditory system is completely developed till 7 months of pregnancy. Yes, a lot of things you can do with. And it's very important to, let's say, it's very important for moms pregnant moms to understand the concept beside, not just decide her, let's sing. I mean, she can sing, but she doesn't know what is she doing. So I'm trying to explain them and give them, explanations, okay? And then we can apply that. So that's the, let's say that's the way, and it works. Definitely, yes.
To finish our interview, I wanted to ask you what would be your advice to anyone who is thinking about having a baby, and also an advice for professionals that are listening to this for the first time.
Wow. Okay. Speaking about the moms, new moms, let's say to be authentic. It's very, very, very important information. If you're sad, say that to a baby that you're sad. You don't have to say everything is happy, shiny, happy, and everything is fine. I mean, it's not the correct answer. So be authentic, be aware, be present, slow down. Very, very important information. Get to know your intuition and listen to it. It's also a great period, to just to meet your intuition, from the core. Educate yourselves and ask for support if you need it. And also, don't forget to bring your partners along, because it takes two to tango. It's very important to motivate partners. And yes, that is the greatest gift you can give to your baby. And your baby will be grateful to you for it for the rest of their life. So just a few things, be authentic, be present, educate yourself, be aware, get to know your intuition, bring your partner as well, and I think in everything. And listen to your body. Definitely listen to your body.
And for professionals, what do you think that should integrate in their
professional? Come to me and let's educate. Also, I haven't mentioned, but yes, usually I'm also educating professionals every, let's say, second month. I have, let's say, some specific workshops for them. And the professions that are who are interested actually in that educations are psychotherapists, are doctors, because that's the only way that they can learn about that. Definitely they should have to take into account pre and perinatal story, and they can apply, and that it can help them to understand their clients better, even if they're doctors or, I don't know, obstetricians, or I know it's a big topic, to people from the medical world, let's say, take into account everything that we are mentioning in this last hour. But we as educators should have to be motivated and just talk them all the time. Talk them. I know that it will need a time, to understand that and to apply that knowledge in the hospitals, for example.
It will come. It will come. Even in the health system and educational system, I think that people are, with the work that everybody is doing, they are more and more open to listen and to integrate all this knowledge in their own practice.
Yeah, it will be a bless.
It'll be a big change.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Nana. Thank you so much for this wonderful time that we had with you. It's so wonderful to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.